The Alpha Foxtrot 1911 S15 Bob. Yes, it takes Glock mags. Let's check it out. Alpha Foxtrot, based out of Duluth, Georgia. They're making some really high quality 1911s. They've been an OEM manufacturer for a number of different companies for years. They're actually owned by Dasan, which is the premier arms manufacturer out of Korea. But they decided to start making their own line, and they have made some very unique firearms. This is the 1911 S15. It takes Glock mags, or Shield Arms S15 mags. So this gives it a 15 round capacity in a 9mm 1911 that is very compact. And yet there's no thickness to the grip. It does have a full aluminum frame. The diamond-like or QPQ nitride coating is super slick. Comes in a number of different configurations. This is the Bob. And so it's got that little cut here, which makes it much easier for concealed carry because it doesn't print as much. Plus, it just seems to fit in your hand a little better than just that straight edge. We did a review on the original 1911 S15, and this is just an upgrade. And because it takes the Shield Arms S15 mags or your standard Glock 43X mags, this makes it a great choice for concealed carry. And a big thank you to Alpha Foxtrot for sending the 1911 S15 for this review. And the Bob model is definitely something that I love. I love the way this thing feels in my hand. And it's just great to be able to add this to my 1911 collection. The Alpha Foxtrot S15, this is the Gen 2. We did an earlier review of the Gen 1. There are some changes aside from the barrel length and the threaded barrel. And one of the big ones is this bob cut, which has become very popular. Honestly, this is where you conceal carry. This prints right in here, and this just kind of bobs it off, and it gives you more of a solid grip rather than just the squared off angle with the grip. And so that's just a big plus in itself. But there are some other changes. But one of the things about this handgun is, again, that it does take the Shield Arms S15 magazines. So you have a 15 round mag capacity in a 1911. It takes Glock mags pretty much. So you can use standard Glock mags in here, but then you're limited to 10 rounds. This also comes in their QPQ nitride finish, which this is one of their commander size 1911s. It has more of that matte finish to it. This definitely has some bling to it. I mean, it's got some shine. Of course, there may be some fingerprints on it, but this is a really hard finish. And it was very corrosion resistant and really just makes this a beautiful gun. With the matte finish, again, this comes in this same version. And, you know, I like this matte finish. It is a very hard finish. That polished quench finish just gives it a really nice smooth satin feel to it. But overall, the bob on the end is a big change. Now we're going to drop the magazine, make sure that the gun is unloaded and it's empty. Honestly, very smooth. And that's one of the things about this diamond-like coating finish, is it makes it really smooth, easy to clean, and it just glides on those rails. But the Gen 2 S15 magazines have a little more width to them. And here we have just the Gen 1. When you insert it into the mag well, it has a little bit of play. And it's acceptable, and we've shot them with these. But with the new Gen 2s, they just seem to be a little bit better fit. And so that is one thing that I like. And really when I noticed it was on the original Gen 1. Putting in these mags, they were fairly loose. And we talked about that when we did our review. But with the S15 mag, you have a little better fit. And then it seems like they have reduced the interior width of the Gen 2. And now with the Gen 2 and Gen 2, it's a nice tighter fit. Has a little bit of play, but not bad. But one of the things I love about this handgun is how thin the grip is. In fact, it's right at an inch thick. I think it's 1.06 inches. And even thinner than your standard 1911. And here you can see, with the 1911, you have your grip panels. With this, your grip is built into the frame itself. And so this gives you a very thin grip on your 1911. Yet it gives you that really nice diamond feel to it. And then we have checkering on the front and on the back strap. Then we have a really nice high ride beaver tail. Now, one of the things about the beaver tail that's been changed is the width on the original beaver tail was a little bit wider, and they've trimmed that down a little bit. And honestly, it makes it just a little more comfortable. With the web of your hand fitting up here like this, with it being wider, it made it just a little bit wide. It gave it a little bit more surface, and honestly, I'm glad that they dropped that down because it makes it more natural to really get a good solid feel on it. Now we have 3-dot sights. They are in this really bright green, fluorescent type green, and then here at the front, and this one is dovetailed in. These are not night sights, but the sight itself is more of that Novak style, but yet it has an adjustability up and down. And then here on the front, you can adjust it for windage if you need to pop it over a little bit. But honestly, really excellent sight picture with the 3 dots, and it rides really low on the slide. Now, one thing too is this is not optics cut, but in August they're coming out with their optics cut. This is July, so it's about a month. And so if you really like optics, they're going to have that version available. Cold hammer forged barrel. This is 4.5 inches in length. Without the threaded barrel, which you can get that version as well, it's a 3.5 inch barrel. Guys, a forged barrel, it really helps to make the lands and the grooves very crisp. It gives them longer life, and the barrel has longer life. So it's one of the big things about forgings. And it is one of their ultra match barrels. 3-slot Picatinny rail that comes all the way out to the end of the dust cover. Front cocking serrations and rear cocking serrations, and guys, they're in that angle, so it really allows this to come back really smooth. And it's really easy to grab. Press checks, very simple. Commander style hammer with serrations at the top. This is a standard configuration 1911 hammer, so you can fine tune it or you can replace it. And then also with the trigger, it is skeletonized. It does have an over travel screw adjustment, and it is also standard 1911, so you can tune it as well. Magazine release is 1911, has the serrations on it, and of course your slide stop. The texturing again is just very well done. I want to get a little bit of a close-up. And then here with the Bob, it just gives you a very comfortable fit when you put this in your hand. Especially right here at the bottom, because it just fits right naturally into your hand and it doesn't come straight off. Like right here with the 1911, it's just straight down. Now, I've been shooting 1911s for years, but there's something that's really comfortable about that Bob. But if you like to change out your grips, that's the one downside. I mean, it's pretty much what it is. It's built into the 7075 T6 aluminum frame. Now we're going to look at it, but there are steel inserts in the frame. And this is to help with wear, because aluminum on steel, it's going to wear. So that was a really smart choice to put those steel inserts in. As far as slide to frame fit, I mean, it is really tight. And I noticed that with the first one. In fact, there is no perceived movement. And then here with the barrel, same thing, very well fit. And that's going to lend to better accuracy. But my first experience with Alpha Foxtrot was with their AFC, which is an aluminum frame 9mm striker fire pistol. It takes a lot of the Glock parts, but man, that aluminum frame changes the recoil impulse. And honestly, it shoots very flat. It gives it just a little more weight, but not a lot because it's still aluminum. But really like the AFC. Again, you've got your parts compatibility with Glock, and so that gives you a lot of choices. And they make an optics ready version as well. As far as trigger pull action, tiny bit of take up, nice, crisp 1911 break. Reset. Right there. Trigger pull weight with our Lyman trigger gauge from Brownells. 4 pounds, 8.4 ounces. 4 pounds, 13 ounces. A little bit heavy for 1911, but really for a combat handgun, that is a really good trigger pull weight. And when it comes to the threads, there is a O-ring seal in there to help it just stay put when you're shooting. And it's one of the things that can be very annoying when you're shooting with a thread protector, is it starts to just unscrew. But with this little O-ring seal right here, it's going to keep it in place until you need it. Yeah, that locks up very well against that gasket. Now here on the slide, it has very fine little serrations. You don't even feel them. And this will help cut down on glare when you're shooting, especially with this diamond-like coating. Weight on the S15 1911, 31.46 ounces. Weight on the Commander version of the 1911, 38.88 ounces. I want to give a big thank you to Fiocchi for sponsoring our ammunition, all made in the USA. Again, the #1 supplier of ammunition in the country. I'll tell you guys, these Lula loaders are fantastic, and the Mag Lula, especially with these 15-round magazines, are just a beautiful thing. Guys, Alpha Foxtrot, we've reviewed a number of their different 1911s, but when they came out with the S15, which uses the Shield Arms S15 mags, you have a 15-round mag capacity in a standard 1911 size grip. And that's pretty big. I mean, this is a very smooth firearm. And with that diamond-like coating on the slide, I mean, it racks really sweet. Two, when you're shooting it, that diamond-like coating helps to make that just a smooth action back and forth. Now this particular model with the Bob, which allows for better concealment. It doesn't print as much because your grip is your #1 place that prints. So that just kind of cuts the edge off. But also, it just rides in your hand. It nestles in, and then with that high ride beaver tail, gives you a solid grip, you know, on the 1911. Now there are other companies that have done that, but it was really nice to see this aluminum frame, which is no grips. The grips are actually incorporated into the frame. But a lot of nice texturing. Of course, your Picatinny rail, threaded barrel if you want that. It shoots like a single stack 1911, and yet it has 15 rounds with the Shield Arms magazines. So it really makes it a pleasure to shoot. Guys, I've been shooting 1911s for 30 years or longer, and I just feel at home with it. With this, I have that round capacity, and yet I've still got the capability of a 1911. And I'll tell you guys, I mean, Alpha Foxtrot's doing some really awesome 1911 designs, but this with the Bob and taking those Shield Arms mags, I mean, it's just the best of both worlds. There ain't nothing like shooting a 1911. And having those rounds, that's awesome. All right, now we're going to disassemble the S15, drop your magazine, check the chamber, and the gun's empty. You want to bring back your slide. Bring back your slide and line up that little first crescent to your slide stop. Now you want to push through on your slide stop right here. So we're going to push it through. It's a little bit recessed, so it's a little bit more difficult to get to, and then we just pull out our slide stop. Next, just bring the barrel right off. Keep your hand under the recoil system just to make sure it stays into place. Now with the recoil system, it's a little bit different, so we're going to take and press it, and we're just going to pull it out, and you've got to get past your barrel link. There we go. And you'll notice that it does have two different spring systems, and then we have a small collar that's inside under the dust cover. And so this is a little bit different, and honestly it aids in recoil. So just a really nice system. This spring does come off, but the other part is captive. And then we want to drop down our barrel link, and then we can just pull it out. Now typically with your handguns that are threaded barrels, you have to undo the thread protector, but because this is a 1911 and it comes out the end, you don't. Now right here is your steel insert, and you can see it's just like a locking block. Then right here at the back you can see where the steel rails come in, and so these rails are what are going to give that steel insert, and so that's going to take less wear on your frame. And that's all you need to do to field strip. Next we're going to take our barrel and put it back into the slide. You want to go ahead and bring up your barrel link. Then we're going to take our recoil spring and guide rod, we're going to reattach it, and take your little plug, and it only goes in one way, put it into the dust cover. And then we're going to bring our spring back over. You want to make sure that these little ears right here are facing against the barrel. There we go, it fits right in. Now get your barrel link and put it in the down position, and we're going to put our slide back over the frame. And then through this hole, look for your barrel link, and then put your slide stop in it, and then let it hang down. Now you want to bring back your slide again to hit that little notch. Lift up your slide stop and put it back down in it, and you just snap it into place just like that. Sometimes you have to go over the detent with a lot of 1911s, but this just works straight in. Test for function, and we're good to go. Now the retail price is $1,490, but that is actually a $150 price reduction from the original S15. So definitely they're getting their production in line to be able to cut some cost and yet not cut the quality. Of course, if you get a threaded barrel or you get optics cuts, that's just going to run it up a little bit more. And then market price is typically less. This really compares to your 2011 style pistol. It is an all aluminum frame, but it does have that higher round capacity. It's a thinner grip. So that just gives you some advantages with this type firearm. As far as the fit and the finish, it's very well done. Of course, it uses the S15 magazines, so you have that higher round capacity. And again, you can use standard Glock mags if you want to go with a 10 rounder. It's a very compact size, and it just has that 1911 feel to it. The diamond-like coating is really beautiful, but if you want that nitride quench polish quench finish, gives it that little more of a matte finish, you can opt for that as well. As far as any cons, if you love to put different type grips on your 1911, that's going to be a no-go with this. They're already built in. But again, it does make it super thin. The way this texturing is, and then the front and rear checkering, it just makes it a very comfortable shooting gun. The recoil system in here, again, just aids in recoil management. I really like the sight system with the 3 dots, but you can change that out for other sights if you want, whether it's fiber optic or night sights. I like the changes that they've made from the original S15, right here with the beaver tail, making the mag well just a little more narrow to fit those mags even better, and obviously the price difference is a big plus. It's nice to see this coming down to a more manageable level. I mean, overall, the S15, guys, the big deal is just that it uses the S15 magazines, and that puts it in a whole nother ballpark. So guys, if you love the 1911 and you like that really thin grip, but you just held back because of the mag capacity, the Alpha Foxtrot 1911 S15 really makes this an excellent concealed carry option with 15+1 in the magazine using those Shield Arm mags. Or if you want to go with 10 rounds with the Glock mags, you can do that as well. And again, we really appreciate Alpha Foxtrot for sending the 1911 S15 for this review. Be strong, be of good courage. God bless America. Long live the Republic. Guys, we want to give a big thank you to, as far as any cons, okay, of course we did an earlier review of But one of the things about Alpha Foxtrot is they've been around for, is it Alpha Fox? Yeah. Dropper magazine. Oh, come on, Shannon.